Welcome back to Beast Machines Monday. I am Decepticon Doug.
Oh, Predacon Paul.
And today we are talking about...
Inside the Fire!
Fires of the Past.
That one.
Yeah. Today's episode brought to you by Blackarachnia.
Alright, so this episode starts with a monument of Hot Rod, or one of the other Transformers.
Leonard Nimoy.
Leonard Nimoy?
Yeah.
Holding these two golden records.
Yeah. For, I think one was Elvis's Greatest Hits and the other the Beatles. All the number ones.
And then they start blasting them because they're like, we don't like old school rock. It's Black Eyed Peas or nothing around here.
It would be, knowing Megatron.
Yeah. Turns out that Monkeybot, Catbot, and Spiderbot are all outside, and they're dodging plasma fire from a buttload of tanks.
So many tanks.
That just have a problem with monuments for some reason.
Yeah, they're like, we hate monuments.
We hate old school music, monkeys.
Especially monkeys.
And cats. And spiders, rightfully so.
Yeah.
But there's somebody missing. The mouse.
The mouse. Or as tarantulas used to call him, the rat.
The rat, yeah.
They are outside of the, if I call it the archives? Like the...
where they keep all the other, like, it's a full catalog of all the music from, I think it was 1969. At the beginning of music's time, Dr. Jimothy Music.
Yeah, when he first invented the music wheel.
Yeah, with like with playing with the spoons and everything.
Yeah.
In all seriousness, though, this is like the archives.
It's the same ones that Obi-Wan went down in Attack of the Clones to find out what was going on.
Right. Yeah, and he saw the planet that didn't actually exist. Yeah, right.
No, not Geno.
It was Camino.
Camino, yeah. Geonosis was the later planet, the one that the big lightsaber battle. Yeah. I guess sometime after Obi-Wan left, Megatron went in there, wiped the core, and there's nothing there. Not a darn thing.
So ultimately, the reason why they're there is because they want to try to figure out what exactly is going on. Because not only is there pieces of the history between when the Beast Wars ended and when the Maximals arrived that's missing, there's also pieces of their memories missing.
When Optimus hears that the archives have been wiped, he gets so mad, he throws a monkey tantrum. So he destroys all the tanks, and then more tanks come and they have to run, as they usually do. In the battle, Blackarachnia gets hit, gives her a little noggin a bonk, and falls asleep.
Oh, yes.
And
We've all been there.
I've been bonked on the head pretty good. Actually, I've never passed out from a bonk on the head, to be honest.
Me either.
Yeah.
I really don't want to experience that.
It's not good for the brain, I hear.
Apparently.
So she
Why did I take up boxing?
I don't know. You're gonna get bonked in the head there. I like that we're using the word bonk as much as we are. Blackarachnia, while she's unconscious, has a dream. She's falling down a pit. They're back on Earth. She sees this shadowy image fly toward her and go, Blackarachnia.
It was a bird, wasn't it?
Or a plane. Or a dog.
Or a dog.
And she's like, new phone, who dis?
I don't know who it was.
Yeah. Then she wakes up on Cheetor's shoulders and he's like, let's get out of here. And she's like, am I dead? And he's like, not yet, you ain't. As Optimus is running away, he climbs a building and then they blast off all these chunks of the building. And
there's gotta be like, what? Like how many like...
There's a lot of
like 30 of them or something. There's like rows upon rows.
Yeah.
And they're like probably 10 wide. And they're all firing at the building as Optimus is climbing it.
So really, actually, it was a pretty dumb maneuver on Megatron's part. As you know, because it's like, what's going to happen when I shoot this building? Oh, I guess it's going to fall on them.
Although, like, if you think about it, they're rudimentary robots, and their mission is to get close to the enemy and then shoot the enemy, right? It's not going to be thinking tactically. It's going to drive up, get as close as possible. Oh, he went vertical, just start shooting. Problem A requires problem A solutions, and then Optimus thinks outside the box.
Because he's a monkey, and that's why monkeys are famous.
They got opposable thumbs. They're in that movie with the Statue of Liberty in the sand.
Oh, and that one where the chimpanzee learns to play hockey.
That's right, Air Bud.
Yeah, that's one. They do get away. Everyone gets away just fine. And then Optimus is yelling at them again. He's like, we're so sloppy. Cheetor's like, big bot. take a freaking chill pill.
Although, to be fair, he was like, we need to retreat, and Cheetor was like, no, we can take them on.
That's true.
So there was some insubordination going on there.
That's true, yeah, ultimately, Optimus is still captain.
Do you know what the chain of command is, Cheetor? It's the rotten chain I'm gonna go grab that I beat you with until you obey my rotten commands.
Meanwhile, over in Megatron's lair, he has a little, Robo Butler now.
Is that little guy in 343 Guilty Spark?
Yeah. He's like, you know what, boss, I think we fixed this whole dragon problem. And Megatron's like, oh, okay, well, good, that's great, because I didn't like that dragon problem that I had.
And then just to really rub it in, he's like, this won't happen again. All the vid windows turn on.
Yeah.
He's like, yeah. It was a really embarrassing.
Yeah.
Megatron's like, why are you showing this?
He's like, why are you playing that episode? I don't like that episode.
That'd be funny if that triggered him to like...
As it is, when that building falls on all those tanks, it just sends Megatron spiraling again. He turns into his beast mode despite him being fixed. Hovering Jarvis there is like, oopsie.
My bad, bro.
And then Megatron's like, this can't keep happening. What's gonna work?
That's
I want to
it.
beat them up.
Achoo! And then he sneezes, and then accidentally a flaming booger comes out and hits Jarvis.
And but Jarvis, don't worry, he's okay. Don't worry.
He blocked it with an iPad.
I got an idea on how to beat these guys because he's like, I think it's the free will. It's got to be the free will.
Yeah, but what if we free Willy? And Megatron is like, yes, the world.
He gets a bunch of sparks, and we're pretty sure that at least one of them is Michael Jackson's spark. What is he going to do with all these sparks? It does show that, maybe not all those sparks were extinguished, because clearly there's 3 of them at his disposal. Anyway, why did Blackarachnia and Rattrap, why did they go up and out again?
I have no earthly idea.
Okay. What it was for sure was that Blackarachnia wanted to try and figure out who that person was in her dream. That bird, the wolfy,
bird dog.
Yeah, that thing. That it was a flying pupper.
Name?
And so she goes up to the surface.
Rattrap is like, hey,
follows.
I'm not going to let you go alone because I'm a rat.
And with one thing Rattrap is known for, it is how much he has always cared about Blackarachnia.
And he always puts himself ahead of the team. You know, he's like, no, shoot me instead.
Blackarachnia's like, cool, whatever, let's go. Then all of a sudden there's these a tank, a motorcycle, and a jet. Just one of each coming this way. These guys aren't going to be a big deal because they are very clearly mindless drones, and we can beat them easily.
They don't have a soul.
And they can't even talk. And then what happens? They pull up, and then they transform, and then they go, oh, guess what? We do have souls, and we can talk, and we're not mindless.
And we're pretty freaking smart.
And we got brains in our heads.
We've got a power level over 9,000.
To prove their point, they even show their sparks.
Oh.
And then the Vehicons are like, let's go chase them and shoot them and kill them.
And they do. And they do it so while they're talking.
They are not mindless because they are indeed talking. Well, except Tankor doesn't have much to say on it. He doesn't have a lot on his mind. He's like, smashy smash, shooty shoot, pulverize, I'm gonna shoot you. Yeah, so they're flying around, they're shooting, things fall on Tankor. He was not... Rattrap's actually pretty good at evading Tankor, making this little zooming around.
The bug is all like, yo, I'm gonna throw my weird polygonal web thing at you. And she captures Jetstorm and just encases him in this block of stasis.
Yeah, it was cool, actually. That was a pretty good maneuver.
And she clotheslines Overdrive. He's like, haha.
Thrust.
Oh, thrust.
Thrust. He goes thrust, overdrive.
Oh.
But yeah.
He's all like, haha, I'm a motorcycle and nothing can stop me. And then she clotheslines him. He's like, ugh.
Yeah, just like the way that Peter Parker clotheslined Harry Osborn in Spider-Man 3.
Oh man, that was such a good kill. Or KO. Yeah,
it was good. I remember in theaters, everyone was like, "Oh!" because you could feel it.
That'd be funny if he got up and he was like, "My back,
my back,
my back,
my back." And then Tankor, he got.
She freaking zapped him.
Yeah, that's right. She did the zappy zaps.
So she's the MVP.
Blackarachnia's taken out everybody. So hide your kids, hide your wives, and hide your husbands because Blackarachnia has taken everyone
out up in here.
So they fall down onto a place that's under things that has a conveyor thingy.
That's conveniently going towards where they need to be.
Blackarachnia's like, I'm going over to the Ark shuttle. Rattrap's like, I do not want to. I am being stubborn and I don't want to help anymore. I remembered that I don't like
being shot at.
Yeah, mostly that. When he doesn't like when they try to kill him. And I get it. I usually don't like it when cars try to kill me.
I understand that too. And so she's like, sawed off, and he's like, jog on, and then they go their merry separate ways. And then Rattrap starts climbing through the vents. No one can see me because I'm hiding in this vent. And all of a sudden he sees 3 ghostly figures. And they're all like, Maximal detected!
And Rattrap's like, I surrender.
But they're like, Maximal detected over there.
Not under here. So let's go that way. And Rattrap's like, wait a minute, they didn't even scan me at all. Or hear me. Or see me.
Yo, that must mean...
Their short-range scanners are broken and their long-range scanners are functional. That's the only explanation. Or I'm in beast mode.
That's probably the beast mode
Yeah, it's a
part.
beast mode thing, yeah.
Megatron's like, do not pursue them, for I wish to tell you my grandiose plan. Make sure I'm on speakerphone, so that way anybody who's around might be listening will know what my plan is. I am going to tap into her brain while she taps into the thing.
Blackarachnia plugs in. She's scanning, and then she starts to see some of the figures of there's Cheetor in his Transmetal 2 form, and Rattrap in his Transmetal form, and Optimus. And then some weird green and brown dude. Who's that?
What?
And then there it is, the other that bird flying wolf.
She finds Silverbolt.
Yeah, and
he's like, my love, I was a Predacon too once.
Before she can get any more answers than that, the line is severed because Rattrap's chewing the cord, and he's like, hey, before you smack me in the face, because I know you were gonna. Megatron's trying to hack into your brain.
She's like, oh no, someone made a copy of my brainwaves here. Dun dun dun.
And she turns it off. And Megatron's like,
how dare she? She found the off switch.
Just some thrust, Tankor. I want you to execute them.
You know, it's the most terrible plan ever. They blast the hell out of the only thing that has her memories stored into it. She shut it off and she's like, oh, thank goodness. Can't they just go there in overwhelming force and just take the Arc Shuttle and then just take the computer and then just plug him in again?
Also, is finding the Maximal base that big a deal? It's like if they've been settled in there for like a week tops.
They can just go to another base.
They just find somewhere else to go. I mean, I know it's like inconvenient, but it's not giving them like a huge tactical advantage. It's just a hiding spot. The Viacons come in to finish the job, kill Blackarachnia and Rattrap, but fortunately, Optimus and Cheetor show up. They jump down and they're like, whoosh.
Hiya!
The Viacons are blasting all over the place and hitting the shuttle, and Optimus sees that it's gonna blow, and he's like, no! And he grabs Rattrap, flies up. Cheetor grabs Blackarachnia, somehow flies up as well. I don't know. I think he's supposed to just be jumping, but you know, it really just looked like can he really jump that high? Everything explodes. They get out, and guess who has his third temper tantrum today?
MonkeyBot.
He's like, oh, I failed Cybertron.
This is all my fault.
And now, what? What did we get? Now we lost the ship. A ship he didn't even know he had, like, 4 seconds.
And our memories.
So Rattrap's like, hey, but Optimus.
We found out some things.
And then Blackarachnia's like,
he's got a lot in his mind.
You know what? Let's just let him like thump his chest a bit. Just don't make eye contact. Whatever you do, he'll see it as a challenge.
Yeah, to his authority. He's got a lot on his big monkey brain.
When he's able to sit down and eat a banana and just like enjoy that for a minute.
Well, he can't. He still hasn't found his banana stash.
Right, and he has to go through the Kremlin army, get the bananas back from King K. Rool.
King K. Rool.
That's a tough situation being, and it gets harder every game. Is that it? That's the end, right?
Yeah, and then there's a fire in his eyes.
The end. Predacon Paul. We did it again. We summarized another episode. Word for word, exactly what happened.
This episode actually felt like there was 0 wasted time at all.
Yeah, it was very brisk.
It's like right from the moment they say go, they're in it. And you're sort of playing catch up, like, what did I miss? Like, what happened between the last episode and this one? The exposition didn't feel like overly forced, which was kind of nice. I really liked the fact that they brought Brian Drummond, as you mentioned. Those of you who grew up watching the old Dragon Ball Z back when it like first came out, it was Ocean Studios.
Dragon Ball Z.
It's over 9,000.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
That guy.
It's over 9,000.
What a credential under your belt, hey?
Yeah.
I'm the over 9,000 guy.
Yeah. The fact that the Viacons now had all this personality, I think Jetstorm is probably my favorite character in the show right now. Just because he's like sort of out there, but he's also like really deadly. And he won't hesitate to kill.
He's got a sadistic side, you can see that, but also, but he's goofy about it.
Yeah. He's very likable.
Yeah, Deathstorm's a great character, I think. I like Thrust and Tankor too. I mean, well, Tankor is okay. He's just kind of a big dumb brute, which it fits an archetype. I feel like we don't get a great sense of who Thrust is in this one. We just kind of get a little sense. He's got kind of a cool voice. It's Jim Burns, by the way, who voiced Inferno, who also voices Thrust.
The thing about Thrust, though, which I find really cool, is he's kind of that mysterious stranger. He's got that quality to him, if that makes any sense at all. Because you've got the overly what's the word I'm looking for? Very animated, like, hey guys, we're gonna go kill these poor animals over here. Let's go, boom, and then off he goes. Does like a 180, like in a second. It's like, I'm gonna kill you, and it's like it's really interesting.
Yeah.
And then you got like the big dumb brute, like, no, I'm gonna stomp on everything, pulverize, and he's really dumb. And then you got Thrust, who's just sort of like.
Yeah, just a little more, mysterious.
Yeah, like the mysterious, the voice acting is just like, it's perfect for that.
Yeah.
Like, Thrust, Overdrive. I really like these new characters. Them as additions to this show is phenomenal.
It's nice to round out the cast, because at this point, before this, it was all just familiar voices. And so it's cool to bring in a little bit of new blood into the mix.
Yeah, I felt like they really rounded out the cast with this new blood. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know exactly what you mean.
I did like some of the fan servicey, but like it just felt earned. You got to see like images of what they were like back in the old Beast Wars days.
Yeah.
Some of like the musical cues, some of the locations that, like, especially in Blackarachnia's Concussion Dreams, like were very like Beast Warsy. When they were bringing the sparks out in that weird like mausoleum thing, and then these 3 sparks come out, and there's like that Beast Wars sort of like undertone with like the Beast Machine's music, and as the things open up and these sparks come out, and you're just like, ooh, I wonder what that is. It was awesome. It was a nice little throwback, especially considering they're taking the sparks from characters from that show.
And also, these are, as much as they are, some of them are references to Beast Wars, it's not just fan service, it's actually part of the story.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Yeah.
There we go. It's not fan service for the sake of being fan service. I felt earned because it's a part of the story. Thank you.
Hey.
This guy right here, he's got a noggin.
Because we've had these questions already, like, where's Silverbolt and where's Rhinox?
But they didn't ask, which is interesting.
Yeah, it's like...
And even Rattrap was like, I don't, like, other people, like, I don't know, but, like...
It's almost like they were only able to recover certain memories based on what they were experiencing so far, but somehow their adventures with Rhinox...
Babysitting?
Silverbolt, the Adventures in Babysitting, they just haven't been refreshed. Well, I did like the idea that Megatron wiped out the archives, because it's a very classic fascist dictator kind of move. Is that like
revisionist
if you want to commit genocide, essentially, you have to not just kill them all in the present, you have to purge the past and erase all traces of them. It's right out of the playbook, really.
So I should stop doing that.
Yeah, you should. Yeah.
Okay.
With all those genocides that you're committing.
Yeah. I don't want to be a fascist or anything.
It's just kind of an interesting touch that you don't really think about it much when you're a kid or whatever. But if you learn some history, it's sort of like, oh yeah, like just historically, famous pieces of art have been lost because of attempted. This is getting too dark. Let's move along.
Well, I mean, even Gowron himself says history is written by the victors, right? And Kahless himself once said, "Ending a battle to save an empire is no defeat."
Actually, it is pretty wise. The weapons moves way better in this episode than in the last one. Whatever those stasis web things that she was throwing,
those things are awesome.
Those are good. Those are cool. And Cheetor uses using the swords kind of like a boomerang. I was behind that.
I did like that he can pull them apart and use them as melee weapons and deflect and all that stuff. And then when the need rises, just put them together and hurl it. And then he's just like watching it, and then he's all like, all right.
Yeah, he's like, I'm a cool ninja. He's only one ninja. He's not 3 ninjas. And then so how good could he be?
So how do you knuckle up if you're just one?
I don't know.
How do you kick back?
I guess he's more of a karate kid than he is a 3 ninjas.
Okay. Mike's on.
And I do appreciate that we are getting some more answers. For some reason, like, in my mind, I thought that her visiting the Ark shuttle was later in the series, but
it was later in the series. 2 episodes later than the first.
Well, good point. Which is fine, because actually I think, again, the story's unraveling and the questions are being answered very steadily.
Mm-hmm. Keep pulling on the sweater, as they say.
Mm-hmm. So I do appreciate that. I feel like we're starting to get a bit of a picture of what happened, but it's not a complete picture. It's just pieces, and I think it's actually pretty well executed in how the puzzle pieces or sweaters being unzipped really are metaphors are completely opposite, but they mean the same thing somehow. Everything is falling into its place. I feel like I said that in the most complicated way possible.
I was no help. I really liked how they actually are in the old ruins now. Not just in the sewers. When you see their base, when Optimus is stomping around having a hissy fit, you actually see a layer of the lasagna. I'm not sure if it's the meat or the cheese, but it's out there.
I'd have to look again. And it'd be nice if we were there to actually smell it to get a good sense of what kind of lasagna it was. Because nothing smells quite like a nice baked lasagna. Yeah, that's pretty cool. You've seen the Cybertronian undergrounds. So, things that didn't work. Just from a writing perspective, it seems very forced. This is a nitpick. But which is like, oh, well,
this is a hair, and we're going to split it down the middle.
But it is distracting, because as a writer, I'm just sort of like, it's like, oh, we can just take on these 3 drones, these mindless goons. It's just a little too much.
It was a setup.
It's a setup, exactly, yeah.
It was like, mindless more.
Have I got a line for you? We're not this and we're not this and we are this. And it's like, it felt unnatural. It just felt unnatural, and it was cheap.
I felt it too when I was watching. I was like,
So
you're gonna go with that line? Okay.
Yeah, they wrote it, they put it on paper, they recorded it, they slapped it in the episode, it made it all the way through.
If we're on the nitpicking side here,
sure.
The action in the episode was really good. But why, in all of God's green goodness, was the tank and the motorbike were traveling on the ground, right? Number one, they were together. They should have split up to cover more ground as Blackarachnia and Rattrap were trying to make their escape.
Yeah.
And they were going through tubes and scaffolding or whatever it is they were running through.
Yeah.
And Jetstorm was right there hovering just above them, looking around like, oh, where are they? I can't see a thing. You're a friggin' jet. You have air superiority. Go up here while your dudes are down here.
He's been a jet for, I guess, like all 3 minutes, so...
But he's all buddy-buddy with him. He wants to stay with him.
He's like, hey, guys. Yeah, I love you, man. You're like, you turned on a motorcycle? That's so cool. Tell me about that.
You're a tank? Oh, my God. So what's it like being, like having all that firepower?
What'd it like be Fly? Fly is great, man.
But you're a tank.
Oh. I just don't have the gun that you do. I just got these not a bzz.
Yeah.
I didn't like Optimus in this episode. From a standpoint of like what's going on with this character, I understand it. But honestly, like, he's just being a big old jerk. We were discussing during the episode, I get that he's very stressed. Paul was saying, he thought by coming home everything was going to be peachy keen, and it really has not been. He's been anything but peachy keen. There's no peaches and no
keen anywhere.
Yeah. But he's normally able to compose himself and be a little more level-headed and like that's...
He's usually the one who gives them hope. Like in their darkest hour, he will give you a speech to rile them up or something like that.
Yeah.
To rouse the soldiers,
Yeah.
Yeah, but in this one, he's just sort of being a big jerk. Blaming everyone. It's like, dude, we're doing the best that we can.
Hey, it's literally 4 of us against the world.
A literal world. And we still haven't figured out us yet. Our bodies don't function. Like, he was tweaking out even though he was in monkey mode.
Yeah, he was getting so mad he was like tweaking. And it's just not a side of him that I ever saw in Beast Wars. It just feels like he's losing it a little bit,
In the Beast War on Earth, they had an objective. Okay, we need to stop the Predacons from getting enough energon to revitalize the Predacon army. This is our goal right now and then. We need to save the future. Their main objective was always to get back home. He's been at war for many years, and now he's finally getting to go home. And he goes home to the home that's not there anymore, and the war is now at home, so he can't rest. I think he's battle fatigued.
Burning out.
He's burnt out. He's always sort of like holding everything together. He's at his wit's end at this point. Uncharacteristic, yes, but I understand where the choice to make him this way came from.
I get it, but at the same time, I would have handled it differently. I feel like...
But you weren't writing, were you?
No, I wasn't. Well, no, I wasn't writing this show. I was writing my own Beast Wars fanfic. I didn't.
Really?
But
Oh, I would read that.
you know, it's one thing to see him really tired. It's one thing to see him like grappling with defeat. But I think the amount of aggression and anger toward his team just doesn't ring true to me, and I don't like it. And frankly, Optimus, I'm very disappointed in you. That's one of my main things. Is I think everyone else's characterization is great.
The one thing that I really liked about this episode was the fact that it focused on Blackarachnia and Rattrap. Even though it was the introduction to 3 new characters, it was really the 2 of them struggling to get to the bottom of things, right? Together. Optimus was no help. He was too busy banging his chest and yelling at everyone. So they just took it upon themselves to go and figure out what was going on.
You don't normally see them paired up. I can't think of any time they really teamed up in Beast Wars in season 3. And she was teamed up with Cheetor, plenty.
Yeah, that got awkward.
Mm-hmm. And of course, Mr. Silverbutt. All in all, like Rattrap was just giving her like being snooty to her basically the whole time because she was in Predacon. But yeah, this time it seemed like he was there to actually support her, and until he wasn't, and then he came back and was. A nice interplay between the 2 of them. I agree.
He concurs. Other than that, I don't know. I don't really have any complaints. I mean, this episode wasn't earth-shattering, but it was definitely an enjoyable watch. After a moderate amount of deliberation, we have come to the conclusion that this episode is most deserving of 4 out of 5 stasis web throwy thingies. Not groundbreaking material, but it moves at a good pace. The action is good. The characters were fun, except Optimus, who was just a big stick in the mud.
And the puzzle pieces are starting to fit together, and the sweater is starting to get unraveled. What did you think of Fires of the Past? Let us know in the comments down below. We would love to hear from you, and be sure to like this episode and subscribe to this channel so you can just watch more Beast Machines Monday every time it comes out. Thanks so much for watching.
Nice. That was a good one, I think.